Okay, today we're going to continue talking about solving absolute value equations. So remember that we have to make sure that the absolute value part is by itself before we can set up the two equations. So we're going to isolate our absolute value first. Okay, so I've got the absolute value of D plus 3 is equal to 5. So first thing I want to do is I want to get that 3 away from the absolute value by doing its opposite or its inverse. So opposite of adding 3 would be to minus 3 on both sides of the equal sign. So I get the absolute value of D is equal to 5 minus 3 is 2. So now I can set up my two equations. And I can say D is equal to a positive 2 and D is equal to a negative 2. And since there's nothing else with D, I don't have to solve anything. So my answer is negative 2 and 2. Okay, so I've got absolute value of B over 7 equal to 3. Okay, well, what's 7 doing to the absolute value? Okay, it's dividing. So to undo dividing, I have to multiply. So we're multiplying both sides by 7, and I get the absolute value of B is equal to 21. Now that the absolute value is by itself, I can write the two equations. So I get B is equal to 21, and B is equal to negative 21. And since nothing else, I get negative 21 and 21 as my answers. All right, so let's look at another one. I've got the absolute value of 4x minus 8 plus 3 equals 11. So the absolute value is not by itself. So I'm going to have to get it by itself. So first thing I want to do is subtract 3 because the 3 is adding to the absolute value. And I get the absolute value of 4x minus, and we're going to make that a thicker line so we remind ourselves. And 11 minus 3 is 8. Okay, so now I have the absolute value by itself. I can set up my two equations. And I get 4x minus 8 equals 8. And 4x minus 8 equals a negative 8. Solving this, add 8 to both sides. And I get 4x is equal to, well, 8 plus 8 is 16. Divide by 4. And I get x is equal to 4. Okay, so there's our first answer. Going to work the same steps on the second one. Add 8 to both sides. I get 4x is equal to, well, negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Divide by 4. And I get x is equal to 0. So my solution set here is 0 and 4. Okay, let's look at another one. I've got negative 3 times the absolute value of f plus 4 equal to negative 27. So the first thing I want to do is get the absolute value by itself. So what's with the absolute value? Okay, the negative 3. And that negative 3 is not subtracting from the absolute value, it is multiplying since it's sitting right up against it. So to undo it, I'm going to divide by a negative 3 to both sides of my equal sign, leaving me with the absolute value of f plus 4 equal to, well, negative 27 divided by a negative 3 gives me 9. So now that I have the absolute value by itself, I can set up my two equations. And I get f plus 4 equals 9, and f plus 4 equals negative 9. So solving for f, I can minus 4 on both sides. and f is equal to, well, 9 minus 4 is 5. And then I'm going to do the same steps over here, minus 4, negative 9 minus 4 gives me a negative 13. So f is either negative 13 or 5. All right, we're going to get a little more here. I've got two things outside the absolute value. I've got negative 5 and 10. So I'm actually going to undo both of those in order to isolate the absolute value. So first one I'm going to isolate is I'm going to move the minus 10. So that gives me a negative 5 absolute value of 2x minus 2 equal to a negative 20. Now the negative 5 is doing what operation? Okay, it's multiplying, so we have to divide by a negative 5. So we get the absolute value of 2x minus 2 equals, well, negative 20 divided by negative 5 is a positive 4. So now that the absolute value is isolated, I can set up my 2. So I get 2x minus 4 equals 4. And, or sorry, not minus 4, minus 2 there. And 2x minus 2 is equal to a negative 4. All right, solving this. Add 2 to both sides. I get 2x is equal to 6. Divide by 2, x is equal to 3. Same steps over here, add 2. I get 2x is equal to a negative 2. Divide by 2, and I get x is equal to, well, negative 2 divided by 2 is a negative 1. So my solution set is negative 1 and 3. All right, we'll look at one more. So I've got negative 9 minus 4 times the absolute value of v minus 2 equal to negative 37. All right, so I have to isolate the absolute value first. Now pay attention here, okay? I cannot combine these two. Okay, they're not like terms that I can combine. The 4 is multiplying, whereas the 9 is subtracting. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides first. And I'm going to get negative 4 times the absolute value of v minus 2 equal to negative 28. Divide both sides by a negative 4. And I get the absolute value of v minus 2 is equal to 7. So now that I have the absolute value by itself, I get v minus 2 equals 7, and v minus 2 equals a negative 7. Solving that, add 2 to both sides. V is equal to 9. Add 2 to both sides here, and v is equal to negative 5. So my solution set is negative 5 and 9. All right, that's all I have for this video. I will see you in the next.